How
In
do you
Australia
know?
and in New Zealand, they were still cannibals now.
So, child is educated from the age of 0 to be a criminal. The Chinese have been doing their thing, for while you in Russia and me in the UK, we were like a bunch of peasants. This house says blah 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 blah.
And what did his wife, Vinny, understand?
For playing with Israelis. He was a very brave guy.
Частное мнение.
Здравствуйте, уважаемые подписчики канала «Частное мнение». С вами Сергей Миров и программа «Мировой разговор». И сегодня этот мировой разговор будет с безумно интересным человеком. Но я заранее вас предупреждаю, что ни этот гость, ни все остальные гости, которые у меня бывают или у которых бываю я, совершенно не обязательно, что наше мнение совпадает. Вот с Марком мы, например, очень долго спорили. И я не принял его точку зрения, он не принял мою точку зрения. А Марк Смулян это гражданин Израиля, который последние годы живет в Великобритании. Он пока был здесь, в юности он был, я даже не знаю, как это перевести правильно, паратрупер. Но, с одной стороны, это десантник, с другой спецназовец. Но мы с ним познакомились совершенно на другую тему. Когда я в России делал большой музыкальный фестиваль «Сотворение мира», его идея была в том, чтобы представители разных убеждений, национальностей, вероисповеданий и идеологий играли на сцене вместе. И вот Марк привез с собой из Израиля ансамбль, который называется «Белый флаг», «The White Flag». В нем работали 3 израильтянина и 3 палестинца из сектора Газа. И эти все люди у нас на сцене показали, что, оказывается, мир между нашими настолько странными и не понимающими друг друга субстанциями возможен. И Марк сейчас уехал в Великобританию именно потому, что мира не наблюдается. Mark, hello.
Hello.
Can I see you? Well, as you already know, that most of Israelis, they think that all the Gaza people are just criminals. What can you say about it?
Are
The
you sure?
most criminals and so on.
You really think that most of the people in Israel think that everybody in Gaza is a criminal?
Yes.
What?
I'm sure that they think so.
Well, my experience, I'm not living there now, but my brother is there and all my family is there. All my wife's family is there and hundreds of other people I know because I lived there most of my life. And they would say that there are a lot of the Hamas are criminals, of course, and they would say there are people who are affiliated, but they would say the children definitely are not criminals. Maybe they've been educated in a way, and the babies are definitely not criminals because they're babies.
Just a minute. What age do you think people can become a criminal?
It's very interesting. You look around the world, there's lots of different thoughts about that. For example, in the UK, they say you can be tried as an adult from the age of 13, 14. In America, something like that. Other countries, only 16, 17, because it's about brain development and about maturity and all sorts of things. And then there's what happens if the child is educated from the age of 0 to be a criminal? He doesn't know better, So we have lots of problems there,
Well, just try to imagine. Remember the time when you were a paratrooper? You were a paratrooper. Just imagine that you come to the, Arabian village. You have your machine gun with you, and you see the guy of 5 years coming out with a grenade or with a Kalashnikov in his hands. What should a person do?
A 5-year-old coming out? Listen, I was in the West Bank, the occupied territory, Yehuda v'Shamar. I can't call it that because it doesn't work for me. But I was in the West Bank and I was chasing after people when they were out after the curfew. And I caught people and they were children and they were much more scared. I've been there, I've seen it. This is a black and white argument that you're kind of pulling me into. I understand where you're going, but it's more nuanced than this. You have to understand.
Do you know how many of our soldiers had died because of the cannot shoot at children? Do you know it?
How many soldiers have been killed because?
Because they couldn't shoot in children.
Where, in Gaza or in general, you mean?
In Gaza, in West Bank, and so on.
Well, the West Bank is not interesting to me because the West Bank, we are an occupying country, and soldiers stand by as Messianic Jews go into Palestinian villages and shoot some of them and burn their houses down, and the soldiers watch. So I was in the West Bank a lot. I've seen stuff, and I'm not going to get into an argument about that. Regarding Gaza, if you want to start the conflict from the 7th of October, then it's a pointless conversation because you want me to justify stuff or explain stuff or take a black and white situation, a situation that's black and white. So I'll do it another way for you. The dilemma of a 5-year-old child standing there with a hand grenade or a Kalashnikov is a moral one that each individual soldier has to take for themselves, because clearly the 5-year-old doesn't know what they're doing. You wouldn't let a 5-year-old drive a car, but somebody gave them a gun. They didn't go looking for the gun. So that is a moral, independent dilemma that I don't have an answer for now. Fortunately, I've never been in that situation. The situation...
Last time when we were talking to you, you asked why Israel doesn't let foreign journalists to come into Gaza.
Okay, now you've gone somewhere else altogether, but okay.
Yes, and your argument was that we do not want to show the real hunger in Gaza.
No, I didn't give you an argument. I said to you, why don't they let them in general? What do they have to hide? From way before I asked this question.
I have the answer.
From day one.
I have the answer.
Okay, it's enlightened.
I got the answer. Just I called to my friend who, well, now he is working in Syria, and a year ago he was in Gaza.
Okay.
And he told me that the main problem is their safety. Because if some journalists come to Gaza and Hamas kills him, Israel will be responsible.
No, that's not what it's about at all. This conversation has been had throughout history since journalism started. The responsibility is only upon the journalists. They know exactly what they're doing, and Israel is signed on treaties that allows journalists into theater of war. If we have nothing to hide, in the same way that in the Balkans, there is journalists, or in Ukraine, there are journalists who go all the way to the front line, and Sudan, there are journalists, and everywhere else there are journalists. Where are there no journalists? There are no journalists.
But there were some, as I know. British journalists not long ago came to Gaza.
No, it's all there. A bit of Al Jazeera. Israelis are not letting journalists in. You can check this, Sergei. We don't need to get into an argument. Oh. Journalists they are adults. They go into these war zones knowing the risks. Israel is not there to defend them. They're definitely not there to attack them, just like the Red Cross or anybody else. There are rules of war, whether we like it or not. There are rules of war because we're stupid enough to keep killing ourselves all the time. So we came up with certain lines where we don't become too barbaric. We allow people to medical aid to come in. We have journalists who can come in. We don't starve populations. I'm not talking about Gaza now. I mean, in general, there are rules of law. We don't, etc., etc., etc. Then we have each war is its own moral complex. But the issue that nobody wants to face in our conversation is the history that brought us to this place. And if you look at human behavior, the way humans behave, the way they take on their histories, the way they all know they're right or the other side is right, and our behavior, Israel, regardless of the Palestinian behavior. What happened with the Hamas was an abomination. You know this word, abomination?
No.
Abomination is like, abominable is like completely unacceptable, disgusting, horrific, barbaric. Mm-hmm. It's an abomination, they call it in English. It's a very strong word. It's an abomination. I'm not going to waste myself comparing who I am to the Hamas. I don't want to measure my behavior by the Hamas. If I go down that place, I become an abomination. I can't say it's an abomination and then become that, and then what? I become an abomination. We've dealt with this issue for thousands of years. Genghis Khan, everything he did was an abomination. The Vikings coming into Britain, they were killing the women and the children and taking the men and slaves, and it was an abomination. This behavior is familiar to us. It's barbaric. Somehow we rised above it, but we see even then we have abominations. The Shoah, the Holocaust. This is the ultimate abomination.
Please, when we stop our talk, please spell for me the word abomination, just to find the proper translation.
I'll send it to you in email.
Okay, yes.
Хотите выучить или улучшить свой английский язык? Или английский язык нужен вашим близким, детям или внукам? Самый эффективный способ изучения английского языка – это методом глубокого погружения в языковую среду. Наши студенты изучают английский язык методом глубокого погружения каждый день по 45 минут в любое удобное для них время и в любом удобном месте. Академия АТБЕ. Присоединяйтесь.
So you can read it properly. So hang on, let me finish. It's really important to be a nation state in the 20th and 21st century, a democratic state. We have to accept that certain rules of the game had changed. So in the 18th century, 19th century, colonialism was okay. You know, the Europeans, they went to Africa and they went to India and they went to America and they said, it's ours. And the same in Russia and the same. Everybody was out there grabbing what they could grab, you know. And that was because they were in charge, they decided...
Not only grabbing, they brought education, they brought economy...
Excuse me, that's a justification. Whether that's the case or not is irrelevant. It's your education, it's your economy, you decided that is the right way. That's an arrogance.
If they didn't come...
How do you know?
And in New Zealand, they were still cannibals now.
So they weren't cannibals in New Zealand. Go and check your history, Sergei. They were Maoris and they were like really pretty awful with the local thing. But this is you saying that I know better than him. This is a white man mentality. Even sometimes it's black people or pink people. But the Europeans have been leading this, decided now since the 15th century that we know best.
Do you consider Jews to be white people or black people?
I don't consider anybody to be white or black. I consider people to be people. When I use the word white or black, I'm very careful. So there is a mentality since a European mentality, which was led by predominantly white people, but many people of other color have this same mentality. I know better. I think like this. I'm smarter. I have more experience. I'm wise. So what are we talking about? The Egyptians had a civilization for 3,000 years, so maybe we should listen to them even more. That's longer than the Greek civilization that fed us. The Persian civilization, 4,000 years. The Chinese have been doing their thing, you know, while you in Russia and me in the UK, we were like a bunch of peasants, you know. And so it's an arrogance. What you're telling me is an arrogance. I'm not saying if they want our education and then we're happy to share it, that's great. But we didn't just give them education. We stole everything from them at the same time. So this is not really how useful is the education. You know, you give them education and then you give them with one hand and you take with the other. This is not Christian or Jewish values. Not that I care really much about that, but...
Have you read Salman Rushdie Satanic Verses?
Yeah, absolutely. Long time ago, I just saw an amazing program on TV with him, this guy.
And now this guy is sentenced to death.
Not anymore. They took down the fatwa. He was saying it, but then somebody stabbed him in the eye, you know, somebody else. It's like, but he's great. They took the fatwa, or whatever they call it, they took it away. Listen, all I'm trying to say... But what we should say,
excuse me, what we should say about education that comes from in Iran, in Gaza?
Everything you're saying is going to be correct. Everything you're saying is going to be correct. The education, the misinformation, but it's education. You can educate this way or that way. Education is like you start from the beginning, and some you have to hopefully re-educate, some you can't, and they will just hate. And the young ones you can re-educate. I know because I have plenty of experience with Palestinians and friends, and I've seen them, and I'm not going to go into this. Education is everything. You know, Nelson Mandela, he learned the hard way, 26 years in jail, came out, he understood the only way is education. If you want to change the world, you have to educate the people in empathy and love and compassion. It's scary stuff.
And what did his wife, Winnie, understand?
If what?
What did understand his wife, Winnie Mandela?
She wasn't him. I mean, they got divorced, you know. There's a reason they got divorced. She thought she didn't have the wisdom he had. You can't blame her for him for her. You know, he went, she became the figurehead, he was in jail, the power went to her head. Listen, most people, the power goes to their head. There's an expression in English, power corrupts. And
Sure. Absolute power corrupts, absolutely, yes.
Yeah, you know, very few people can like not take this on. You know, there's a great science fiction story, a great science fiction story that starts off, and I wish I could remember the name. It's 10,000 years in the future, the galaxy is settled, and every 7 years they get a new president. But nobody votes for a president. They have a supercomputer that spends 7 years going through all the people in the galaxy who could be next president, okay? And when it picks somebody, you can't refuse. Why can't you refuse? Because anybody who can do the job knows it's an impossible job. They are not full of hubris and power. They don't like power. They know what power does. They don't want the job, but they have to. Because people who say they can do the job, you don't want them near it. It's not a garage, the musach, where you get your car fixed. And even then, a lot of the time, they say they can do it and they don't do it. You know how difficult it is to find a good guy to fix your car? Very hard. Most of them take your money. Imagine finding somebody who can fix a country. And they all say, I can do it, I can do it. Like, no, dude, anybody who thinks they can do it, not the right person.
Well, as you said in the beginning of our talk, now we are in the situation in which we are in. Okay. Now
Yeah, we're in a terrible, terrible, sad situation.
Yes. And
awful
do you
situation.
have any idea how to solve it?
Listen, there is a paradox in Israel, okay? There's a paradox. The most dangerous situation going on in the Middle East, in my opinion, is not the fight with the Palestinians or even Gaza. That's a tragedy. People are dying. I don't want to get into people on all sides are dying, and every child that dies there is a mother who cries for that child, whether we like it or not, be Palestinian or Israeli. And you know, because a mother loves their child, and I'm not going to say they're all going to be, and the same in Israel. The biggest danger in the Middle East right now is the Israeli government and the theocracy that's creeping in, the religious movement that is moving into the center and taking control and wants to destroy the very fragile democracy from within. And the danger is, because of the system of government in Israel, that there's only one House of Representatives. So democracy at its best is fragile. When you don't have a system, a strong system in place, okay, it becomes even more fragile. So look at the mistakes in Israel. You have a proportional representation. It means that you create parties and they have to get past a certain percentage to get into the Knesset of the vote, and you get all these little parties who manage to get 2% or 5%. I think it's 5% now they have to get into the Knesset. So you have all these little parties, so they can all blackmail each other. You have to make a group of lots of parties, so everybody says, I won't come if you don't do this, you don't do. That's the first problem. Secondly, Israel, a good democracy is made up of 3 pillars. You know what I mean? Pillars?
No.
Amudim, 3 things that hold the building up. It's called a pillar. Okay, it's made up good democracy, and even then it's dangerous. It's not strong. is made up of 3 pillars, 3 amudim, and a constitution. Okay, and a constitution. The constitution is what we agree about everything, the rights human beings have. And this is a fundamental document that says, you know, the church and state, religion and is not part of the government. Everybody gets education. Everybody is equal in the face of the law. It doesn't matter what color you are, what religion you are. Everybody, blah, 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 blah. You have your constitution. And then you have 2 houses of representatives, 2, and the judiciary who are independent. Now, when you have 2 houses, this house says, blah, 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 we're going to do this. And they go, yes, we're going to do this. And they say, oh, wait a minute, before you can do this, you have to send to this house, and they have to say, yeah, we think it's okay, but no, it's not okay, but we will consider it if you change, blah, 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 blah. So you go back to this house, blah, 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 you talk, come back to this house, until they all agree.
Yes, are you sure?
Wait a minute, wait a minute.
They will argue for years and years and years.
No.
They will never agree.
No,
it's Israel.
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't. They argue anyway. I'm telling you how democracy has to work. Look, I'm talking about the danger in Israel. The third, listen, this is a problem, the danger in Israel. The third thing is the court system, the judiciary, the courts. They are independent, right? Now, when you have 2 houses, they argue, and then when they can't agree, then, only then, it goes to the court. And what the court says, that becomes law. Because they can't agree. Because they don't want the court to decide, more often they agree than disagree. They find a way, because they don't want the court to decide. In Israel, we have 1 house. So the court has to play 2 jobs. It has to be the other house, and also the independent court. It's impossible. And now in Israel, they're pulling this apart. They want to take away the power of the court. So 1 house, whoever has the majority can do whatever they want. Nobody says you can't. And there's no court in the way, because the people they want to vote, the ministers want to decide who the judges are. So Israel is being taken over by right-wing movement of many, not the Haredim, not the religious Jews you see, but the many conservative Jews who are messianic, not the ones in the West Bank. They're taking the jobs in the banks, in the hospitals, in the army. They're like you and me. They work in civil society for the first time, and they're going to have a big influence. And they want to turn Israel into a theocracy. You know what a theocracy is?
I know.
And a theocracy will mean that they want to be this biblical place, and then Israel will implode on itself. It won't explode, it will implode, just like it did 2 times before for the same reason.
Yes, I see.
And this is the danger.
I will translate you more properly to our audience,
Yeah.
but I will ask you one more question before we finish. It seems to me that exactly now is the most proper time for you and for your friends in Palestine to make some music, to make some song together.
We're trying. So the guys, my friends, all their families are in Gaza, and I don't know if I know people there. I don't know if they're alive or dead. One of them I talked to. He's in New York. He got asylum because he had a lot of problems. He got asylum for playing with Israelis. He was a very brave guy, you know. And he moved to New York, and he has a pizza parlor, a chain of pizza. He's a very successful guy, you know. He's like, it's great. And I spoke to him, but we didn't talk a lot because his family is in Deir el-Balach, and this was before they went into Deir el-Balach a few weeks ago, so I don't know what's happening. Another guy, I think some tragedy happened in his family, and he's not answering his phone for me or friends of his. He's just, I don't know. But there is a group here in the UK who are trying to do something with some Israeli and Palestinian musicians. It's difficult because everybody is so scared at the moment.
But you can call Rob Bozas. He will help you.
Rob is funny. I'm in touch with Rob all the time, man. I saw him. I spoke to him last week. Yeah, there's a. I think maybe it's about
Even
finding
Peter
a
Gabriel
different-
himself will help you, absolutely.
I'm going to tell him that Sergey says that he has to help me put a band together, man.
Yes, I really do.
Listen, I want to say one thing which I think is really important to the listeners.
Mhm.
If we don't recognize that there is a people amongst us, whether we like it or not, we will just keep fighting and more generations will die. When I would move to Israel, I was 18 and everybody said, oh, I'm the next generation, no more. Next generation. My grandchildren now, not mine, my brother's grandchildren, they're beginning to go in the army now. The death goes on and on. And there is no, in the end, you fight and you win and win and win until you lose one time. This is history. Read your history. We need to have a healthy Israel to protect us for our democracy, to keep the people who are fanatics, but very quiet fanatics, out of power, to be able to be strong, to participate and have freedom and love. We need to find a solution with these people, whether we don't like them or we do like them. Imagine, for me, as far as I'm concerned, put a wall up for 50 years. We don't talk to each other. But to pretend the only other solution is war going on, and unless we really want to commit a genocide and kill them all, which that is not me, and I don't believe it's you. Then you have people in Carmiel who come from Palestinian backgrounds and they have the best hummus around. You know people, they're good people. We need to find a way forward. We need to live. Israel deserves a chance to live quietly.
Yes. Well, Mark, if something happens to your song, I will help you just to produce it and so on. And just promise you that our channel will be the first one. You will give it.
Okay, well, I will get back to you on that. I'm going to speak to Rob. It's a good idea. There is stuff going on. I didn't think to do something by myself with some people, but maybe I should.
Thank you very much for this good conversation.
Okay, you be safe, mate.
Да, спасибо. Я поблагодарил нашего гостя, вернее, опять-таки, не нашего гостя, а мы у него были в гостях. Напоминаю, что это был мировой разговор с потрясающим музыкантом и общественным деятелем Марком Смолянов, который нынче живет в Великобритании, гражданин Израиля, который не согласен с большинством из того, что я говорил. А я начинаю думать, может быть, надо прислушаться к тому, что говорит он. А вас я всех очень прошу, ставьте лайки нашей беседе. Я вам обещаю очень интересных гостей, в том числе и, возможно, одного реального палестинского террориста. Очень надеюсь его уговорить. Есть один такой, даже не один такой, но я кого знаю, он живет в России. Большое спасибо и приходите к нам еще.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Частное мнение.